Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is 26th December. Okay, today I want to share with you is about our QnE Optimum, all about regarding the e-invoice. Okay, so before I start, I have to make sure everyone can hear my voice clearly. So if you can hear my voice, can you put a reply on the message there? Can hear my voice? Well, can hear. Okay, make sure you can listen what I'm saying. How about the rest? Are you or on the line or not? Is still in the meeting? Okay, huh? All right. Since today's our audience are not much, okay, around 10 or 11. Okay, so then let's get started. Okay, so back to our slide here. Okay, so coming implement of the e-invoice. Okay, your the taxpayer with the annual turnover is above 1 million. Okay, we consider it above 1 million. So you have to start your e-invoice on next coming January. Okay, so you are in this text now if you are over 1 million annual turnover. Okay, so I'm just go fast forward for the things you need to pay notice on. Okay, so this is the e-invoice setting. So this one is under your QnE. So you go to e-invoice setting. Okay, you can set your e-invoice. You can pick that which is start at January 26. Okay, and then you can enable the customer control and spot item validation control. Okay. These two options is to validate that when you key in your customer information, if you didn't fill the PIN number or the required information, then you are not able to save the record. Okay, so it will always remind you to key the full detail of the customer and also the item. You need to provide the classification code as well. Okay, so this one we will look forward on it, and then open. This one is the setting to connect the QnE application with LSTM, put the LSTM API. Okay, so this one make sure you are ready to connect, okay, before you start your e-invoice. Okay, all right, this is our today's topic. Okay, I will discover with you how to key customer. Okay, so maybe will take about 15 minutes. Okay, and then how to key your supplier, especially the CPU now, especially the CPU supplier, and also the item. Okay, the item. Okay, and then I'll show you how to issue an invoice. Okay, and then how to do the submit for the invoice as well, and also the credit note. Okay, credit note and the cash sale as well, and then how to do the self bill for purchase invoice, and how to do the payment voucher for self bill. Okay, so and then come to the last is the consolidated invoice. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, first thing is customer maintenance. All right, so every time you collect your customer information, maybe you have the practice that you issue a form, okay, a form for your customer to fill in, okay, before you enter into your system. So this is an example I get from Google. Okay. So basically, you will provide this form to your client, let them to fill in first before you enter to your system. Okay. So okay, for e-invoice, we have few type of e-invoice type, which is you are billed to the customer who is under company Malaysia. Okay, this is one of the type. And then you have company foreign, which is outside Malaysia. And then individual Malaysia is a personal, which is holding the Malaysia IC. Okay. Individual foreign will be the foreigner, which is they will need to provide the passport number. Okay. General traffic is the for those customers which are that didn't want to request for e-invoice. Okay, you just normal issue the normal sales invoice, and then come to the end of the month. For each month, you need to submit the consolidated e-invoice. Okay. In other words, the government, okay, government is basically like JKR or school also. If government school also consider under government. Okay. So this bottom here are those fields are required to fill in. Okay. For example, for company name, you will have to fill the company name. For company Malaysia, you need to fill in the company name. Okay, you need to fill in the registration number and then the key number as well. So for the address, yes, you have to fill in. Okay, here indicated line 1 and line 2. Okay, in our system, the address you have 4 lines there. Okay, at least every time you enter, you have to enter at least 2 lines. And also the fields like city, zip code, state, and country. These fields are also ready to fill in if you are state company Malaysian in Thai. Okay. So for the address line, it is you have to fill the full address. Okay. You can exclude the city, zip code, state, and country. Because this thing is only for LSDN refer, but it is not printed under your address field. Okay. So for your address field, you have to include city as well, or city, zip code, state, and country. Okay. For the phone number, yeah, remember that you need to add on the country code. Okay. This is the sample for the phone number. Okay. So if you are fixed line like 082, 084, okay, 086, that one you have to add the 6 at front, 6. So become 6082 or 6084. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Then for email, previously email are compulsory, but now it's optional. Okay. If you didn't feel still acceptable, but if you have better, you're going try to fill it in. Okay. Okay, so this is an example that let's say you collect info from your customers. This is basically how they fill in. Okay. So bring us to customer maintenance. Okay. So this is our customer maintenance. So later I will show you where is the customer maintenance under our system. Okay. So here you have the customer name. So according to the form here, so you try to fill in the detail. Okay, customer name. So the customer number is auto, space auto. Okay. So register number is according to the business register number. Okay. Basically, we for some member hard, we always use the new business register number instead of use the old one. Okay. So this time is the old register number. So for some level, you have the new register number. So make sure we are going to use the new for new register number here. Okay. So every time when you enter a customer profile, make sure the team type is the first thing you have to select correctly. So this one is a company Malaysia. So yeah, select company Malaysia. But always the default is already selected company Malaysia already, unless you are keying individual or other team type, you have to select. Okay, so this is the address. Okay, address is this one, the business address. So at least you have to key in like okay, maybe the coaching, the zip code, and the state. Here you can enter line 3 or line 4. Okay, this is just a sample of how you key in. Okay, so email is optional. If you have, you can enter it in. Phone number. Okay, all right. Okay, so customer practice, maybe they will not have to fill the copy color. They just fill as normal. But for us, you have to fill it like this way. Okay. So this is the phone number with the country code. Okay. All right. For customer team, you have to you can search through. Okay. Search through the search tree function. Okay. Provided you are connected to LSTM already. If you didn't connect to LSTM API, you won't have this function. That means you have to manually fill in the PIN number for your own. Okay. But after you connected to LSTM API, you can use the search thing like this. You click on the button here. So you come to this screen instead. So as long as you have the registration number, you can click the search. Then it will help you to find the key number and give you the result. Here, then you click OK, and it will help you to fill in. Okay. So this is how you see your customer file. Okay. So after this, you can send the record. Okay. So for some level some paper or sheet. Okay. It's very the company Malaysia. Okay. So what is personal? Okay, this is a sample for personal. So here will be the team type individual. Okay. The team type is individual, then you fill in the name according to the IC. Okay. And then the identification number will be the IC number. Okay. Remember that IC number, you don't have the dash in between. Okay. All are in number. Okay. So you key in the address accordingly to the IC and then phone number. The PIN number, you can also use the search thing to search the PIN number. So individual PIN number basically is start from IG. Okay. So for just now, the something number is usually is from C. Okay. If partnership will be D. Okay. So provider it could be IG or C as well. It depends. Okay. All right. This is how you key for personal. And then for foreign company, because they don't have the Malaysia registration number, that's why we put an N. And then the customer team type, you have to select as company foreign first. Okay, so this one you don't need to key in as system will generate for you as long as you select company foreign. Okay, by the time you click on save, it will help you to fill in. So if you select company foreign, make sure your country is not Malaysia. Okay, because by default it's Malaysia. So you have to change to other country like China or Singapore or other country. So that will be not applicable. Okay. So you have to fill the address as well and then the contact number. Okay. So the customer name will be their company name. Okay. All right. This is how you key for company. And then for government, okay, this is a example. Let's say this is a school name. Okay. For school also they don't need to key in the register number. And the pin type you have to select government. Okay. So government will use the O0. Okay. So country is under Malaysia. Okay. State. So this we have to fill in the address and then the contact number. Okay, so this is what you need to key for government. Okay. All right, for cashier customer, okay, I think you always have this type of customer under your customer profile. So cashier customer basically we put general option. Okay. By default, we always consider that this customer not didn't request for e-invoice. So we by default we set it as general public first. Okay. Unless they are on the spot, they want e-invoice, then we can amend under the cash sales or invoice. Okay. Okay. So I'll give a little time for you to ask. Let's have a Q&A section for a while, maybe 5 minutes. So do you understand about my explanation? If yes, can you reply the chat box? Or if you have question, you may also key at the chat box. Maybe I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Any question before I go on? Okay, maybe no response. I just go on. Let's say I'll do a on screen demo. Let's say, okay, as you can see, this is our new QnE. All right. So let's go to the customer here. Customer. So this is your customer maintenance. So just now I did show you the sample. You can refer that. So this is how you begin customer profile. Then so the pin type is by default is company Malaysia already. Okay. So here you have the registration number. Okay. According to the slide there, we already have the detail. So just key in everything in according to the form we are collected from our customer. So this one we need only to key in manually unless accept the T number. T number you can prove the search key. All right. So as long as you have the registration number, you can click on search. Okay, click on search, then you will notice that the PIN number of a customer as a clear. Okay. So if you click on OK, you will able to fill up. You will able to fill up to the customer PIN here. Okay. Then the rest are optional field already. So you can set after that. Okay. So this is for customer, and then for individual, you can search through the PIN type. Can we have some individual sample here. Let's say use this one. So this is the individual name, the IC, okay, the address according to IC. This is the phone number, and then this is the PIN name, okay, individual Malaysia, and then the PIN number we can search through the IC name. So you return you the PIN number. Okay, and then you have a sample of if you are doing export, okay, use company forward. Okay. So this is the company name and then the address here. So registration number will be not applicable. So this is the country has to be other country inside of Asia. So company the team type will be company forward. So this is a company forward team type. This is a system will assign for you. Let's say I didn't fill in when I click on send, system will help me to fill in. Yeah. And then this is the phone number. We have to include the country code at front. Okay. And then we have set after then comes to the government. Let's say, so this is the government. Okay. So I only key the school name without the registration number, and then I have the full address and also the required field of the address. The key type and selected government. Okay. So customer team also system will auto generated. Okay. Phone number if you have you can fill in, but if you don't have, if you put an A, it's still acceptable. But I think you are able to search for Google or somewhere else for the phone number. Okay. And then the last one will be the SL customer. Okay. If you have SL customer, make sure you put it in under general public. So for SL customer, the thing type you put general public, and then the rest you don't need to fill in, just directly. Okay. So here it will fill out for you, which is not applicable. Okay. So this is how you fill uh, for customer payments. Okay. So if we make here we have the questions, and then if we have donation to Chinese independent high, high school team number is if school don't have the team number, okay, whether you are doing donation, which means you are make a payment. Make a payment means it's not a sales invoice, it's a payment we call it just a payment voucher. That one not related to invoice. Okay. All right. So we go for the The next one will be the supplier. Okay, the next one is the supplier maintenance. Okay, supplier maintenance, we have two types. One is non-self bill, and another one is a self bill. Okay, so for non-self bill is just a normal company lah. No matter the company implement e-invoice or not implement e-invoice, they are considered as non-self bill supplier. And then there has to be company in Asia lah. First thing is okay. So if you key in supplier detail, just key as usual. Okay. PIN number if you have, you just add that. Okay. But the set build time you put none. Okay. You are also able to sustain use the sustain function. Okay. So this one I just explain straightforward because this is not so important to e-invoice because these suppliers are the one to issue e-invoice to you if they have already implemented e-invoice. Okay. So as our part, we only key in the purchase or the payment as normal. Okay. Yeah, nothing different with previously. Okay. Uh, just to make sure if the suppliers uh if they issue e-invoice, make sure they bill your company detail correctly, the PIN number, okay, and your registration number, or you provide to them, okay. They did do the submission for you, okay. That one you need to check by your own, okay, because this part are done by them, okay? Not done by our side, huh? You only need to consider the self-bill supplier. Okay. So this is the non-self-bill. So how you can do the search. Okay, for self-bill supplier, okay, this one you need to pay attention is the supplier who is not a company. Okay, first thing, they are not a company. Even they are company, if they are foreign company, they will also consider self-bill. Okay. And then the person, individual, which are not conducting business, you need to enter as a self-bill. Okay. And then maybe you have the agent, payment to the agent, you need to do self-bill as well. Okay. Unless they have company. If the agent not in the company, then you have to do self-bill. Okay. Majority we are facing an agent, foreign seller. These three are mostly we are facing. The rest are less lah. Okay. Unless you have some like investment or something like that, you or dividend. But basically dividend, the bank or the investment provider will do the self bill already. Okay. So majority you need to focus is I think is these three type. Okay. Other than that will be considered as none. Okay. So here I've got experience self bill is it's not Malaysia registered company. Okay. The payment for rental, water, electricity from the owner. Okay. Which are using individual. It means that if you are rent a shop or office from a personal name, okay, according to the tenancy agreement, okay, In this case, you need to issue payment voucher with self bill. Okay, and then if you are do as a construction, you have the contractor, which is under personal name. You also need to do self bill for payment voucher. Okay, so for self bill supplier, you need to study on it. This is some example for you. Okay. So this is a individual taxpayer. So the self-bill type for individual taxpayer. Okay. For individual taxpayer, you need to select as a thing type individual Malaysia. Then here you fill the IC. It's same like how you key your customer. You can search their team number. You can key the you have to key the IC in order to get the team number. Okay, or if they are don't have team number, we just put the general team. Okay, and then the MSIC code, basically they're not conducting business, they will put not applicable, which is 50. Okay, all right, this is let's say you are doing import from China. Okay, so this type of supplier you need to do self bill. Okay, the team type is for the company foreign, and then the self bill type you select as foreign seller. Okay, foreign seller, and then the supplier team will be under this. Okay. For this type, you cannot do the search. You can do the search. Okay. The NSIC card also consider not applicable because it's not under Malaysia company. Okay. Registration number also not applicable. Okay. Company name is the foreign company name. Okay, so any question for supplier maintenance? Any question you want to ask? You may text at the chat box there. Okay, so if not, then we go further. So the next thing is item maintenance. Okay. Yeah. So what you need to update for item maintenance? Okay, first thing is a classification code. Okay. So what is this thing? This thing is provided by LSTM. Okay. So maybe you can refer to the web. So if you click the link, whatever, to come to the LSTM website. Okay, here you have the classification code. Okay, it's about like classification code, including the same video or non-same. Okay, this one you have to study later on. And then under the slide, we also give you the listing already. So maybe you can study later. So basically, if it is not in the list, we will select as others. Okay. For self-view, we also select as self-view others. Okay. Other than that, you have to refer the item which is related to your industry, especially if you are doing with if you're dealing with construction material. Actually, item you have to select 005. Okay. Or if you are doing repairing, we have to put zero balance 030. Okay. For those you have charged the labor 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 charge, you have to put repair and maintenance. If you are paying on the behalf, that one you have can put investment or reimbursement. Reimbursement is a 027, and then the other one is reimbursement, disbursement, yeah, 006. Okay. Donation, just now someone did ask the question, then donation will be under 007. Okay. So if you're selling a computer, a smartphone, or tablet, make sure you put 003. Okay. So this is so far majority we are facing for the industry. If you're selling vehicle, then you have to put 025. Okay. If you are renting for vehicle, which is 028. Okay. So for self view, you need to refer whichever the description really start from self view, like import of goods. Let's say you are doing purchase invoice, you are doing the invoice for foreign company, okay? And then your item you have to select GLV for the classification, okay? Because the goods are import from other country, okay? If local, if from local, then you select others, okay? Mm. So this is how you create a stock item. As usual, you have to key the stock code and the stock name, and then the unit of measurement. This one is compulsory. Okay, and then the price, the selling price, and the unit cost. Okay, and then the total part will be the invoice. Okay, the invoice you have to fill the classification part. If there's two parts to fill, one is for sales, and another one is for self-bill. Okay. So in this case, this one is a, a drinks, right? We call it drinks, right? So which is not fall under any special specification under the ISBN table here. So we just go in 022, which is others, right? And then 036 will be the self-view others. Okay. If yeah, trust or limit trust, then okay, this one is regarding the stock control. Okay, if your item are under the stock control, make sure you take the stock control. So for the labor charge, like which is not related to the stock, then this one you have to take the stock control. Okay. So here is the explanation for you, which is stock control is antique, which means it is a service item or this is a expenses item. Okay. And then unit of measurement, this one you have to fill because when you submit e-invoice, this is the field that one of the field required by SPN. Okay. The test price is the test price is the unit cost. Okay. Unit cost for UOM, which means that if your UOM is pieces, then your cost will be per pieces. Okay. So classification code, okay, you have to refer the SDN table. Okay, that's now we did mention that self-bill for rental for the electricity or for subcon fee, those are under self-bill transaction. Okay. This one you can key under payment voucher or purchase invoice. Okay. If you're using QnE accounting, you about expenses, I mean, this selected expenses, you can do for the payment voucher. So for which one do under purchase invoice, which is your import for importation for goods, that one you have to key under purchase invoice. Okay, so to correct the, let's say you are using purchase invoice, you need to key item. So each item, in order to key in one by one, maybe you can use general stock code. We call it miscellaneous. Okay, we'll just name it as miscellaneous. Okay, then the unit of measurement, we just put the unit. Okay, the selling price, because this is a miscellaneous item, they don't have a fixed price, so we just put 0. Okay, and then the classification code, we just put 022 and 036 by default. Okay, then you can set the item. Okay, so by default, this item is follow the your default hosting account. So for those who do account, you make sure you select the correct GL account under your purchase invoice, because this is not a fixed item and it doesn't have the fixed costing. Okay, so every costing will according to the purchase invoice. So this one later I'll show you how to do. Okay, for unit of measurement here, you have the if you have multi UOM. Okay, after you set the item for NSIC, you go to multi UOM here. Okay, under multi UOM here, you can add a different UOM. Okay, and then the red hole you put one. Okay, you can add as many as you can. Okay, there's no limitation for the multi UOM for each item. Okay, all right. Before I show the spot item, any question you want to ask? Okay, let's we refer back to the Q&A. We are selling FFB to meal. How to create stock code view? We don't have stock. We'll keep the transportation subsidize as well. The stock code also need to create separate. Yeah, it's the itemized building. Okay, let's say you build what the meal is the item, and then the transportation, okay, is another item. Unless you are in a bundle, if you are built in a bundle, then you just build the meal with a net price. Okay, if it's usual build to my subsidiary company, we are needing money from them. How to issue if net payment was equal plus interest. This one, if sub bill you just pay to their, if they charge you interest, you just set bill them the interest. That one you will need to refer the item. Okay, just now we mentioned that the sub bill type. Okay. Okay, the sub bill type, if it's related to dividend or interest payment, the supplier you have to classify as this one. Yeah, the stock item you need to untick the stock control. Okay, because the meal I think you are not able to count the balance, right? So in this case, the meal item you just untick the stock control. Supplier, your supplier, as I said, if your supplier doesn't have a company, then you have to do the sub bill. Okay, if they have company, you just issue a normal invoice. If a supplier is a sub bill, then which means that I don't have, as I mentioned, the sub bill supplier has to be fall under this category. Okay, if they have if they are already in Malaysia company or they have company and they didn't implement e-invoice, those are considered non-self bill. So non-self bill you just do as normal. Okay, you cannot simply go and do self bill for those supplier and company. This one you get uh, penalty from LSDN. Okay, so back to the stock item maintenance. So how to create a stock item? I'll show you through the software. Okay, so we go to our stock and so stock item. So especially our display. Okay, this is the stock card. If you are creating item, okay, if you're creating item, this is your stock card. This is the description. So this item, if you have the stock control, then you just take the stock control. If you don't have, you can untick. Okay, this one is you select during you create this item and before you start the transaction for this item. Okay, after you start transaction, this option will be disabled for editing. Okay, so make sure you don't have any transaction. Okay, before you do the option. Okay, so this is the QoM. Okay, remember to select the classification code. Okay, and then it save. And then you can create the multi URL. Let's say I have Kanban. I can put the Kanban here. So how many you need for Kanban? Let's say it's 34. You can put 34, right? Then you can set the price as well, and then click on set. So this is for stock item, for stock control item. Okay, but if you are creating the like miscellaneous, let's say I'll show you the miscellaneous item. So miscellaneous item is not a fixed item and it doesn't have a stock control as well. you can see that this one, this option, I cannot do changes here because this item I already applied on the transaction. So I cannot amend this anymore, okay? Unless you create a new one, okay? So this is the unit of measurement, okay? By default, it's unit. And then I already preset all the classification code. The preset code is miscellaneous here, okay? So what is this come from? Where does this come from? Okay. So the preset code it is under the it's still under the store. You can refer to the account preset. Okay. So this is related to your account. Okay. So this miscellaneous account preset my costing is set to general expenses by default. Okay. But I can amend the GL during our purchase invoice. Okay. So basically this is purposely used for purchase invoice instead of sales. So as you can see, at the sales part are also put general expenses because this item we apply at purchase. Okay. For sales, I don't really need to use this item. Okay. So after create the costing, okay, you are able to select the preset code for this stock item. Okay. So this is the preset code, and then as for the unit of measurement, you can create as many URL as you want. Okay. Maybe this miscellaneous you are charging for transport. So the transport, the description you can amend under the purchase invoice. Okay. So if your supplier charge you by trip or by kilometer, then you can change the your insurer. Okay. It's depend on your invoice, your supplier invoice. Okay. Okay. So any question for stock item before I go on? Okay, let's check our time here. Now it's 10 a.m. We should be able to. Okay, we still have a little time. So before this, I demo how to issue invoice, sales invoice, credit note, or any self-bill transaction. Any question you want to ask? Maybe I'll give you about 5 minutes. Okay, we take a short break. I'll give you 5 minutes to ask a question. So then I'm going to demo the whole process for e-invoice. Okay. So if you have a question, please you can send the chat box there. And later on, I'll show you the transaction for invoice, especially this is for sales. Okay, so how to create a sales invoice. Okay, during the sales invoice, what you need to do, you need to request the customer form, customer info. Okay, if customer request for invoice, then if customer don't want invoice, then we just treat as a consolidated invoice. Okay. And then I'll show you how to issue credit card and how to issue cash sales. Okay. and also how to do set bill for purchase like import. Import. This one is a shipping information. So for import, you need to fill the K1 form number, okay? And then what is the expenses through the purchase invoice, which is just now I show you for the miscellaneous item, okay, how to apply it to purchase invoice, and then purchase return. Okay, back to okay, someone is asking customer 一种要比一种不要比要不要 correct 两个 account， 要 bill 还要 correct account 吗？要 bill 就是你都不会用 system 来开单给他了，或者你可以这样子讲，他要 bill 的你就有一个 customer profile，如果他不要 bill 的，因为我们还是要出单啊，我们就用 cash sell 那个 customer。我觉得你要 make sure 他是有还钱的，因为他是不同 account 的话，你 account 那边会很难做咯。有回答到你的问题吗？这个是汪吗？Mr. Wong 是。Okay. Any question? Okay, we have a some audience he raised a question that if a customer one type is they want the bill, they are request for the invoice. Another one is they are not request for the invoice. Do we need to create a two account for this customer? So as a practice, maybe as usual, if the customer want the e-invoice or they are your regular customer, of course you already create a customer profile for this customer. Okay, but if another type of customer which don't want the e-invoice, okay, we are not necessarily purposely to create a profile to this type of customer. We just make use the cash sale account or general account, okay, for this customer who's don't want e-invoice or don't want any bill, okay. So this type of customer we only can submit as consolidated e-invoice, okay. For those customer who request for the bill, you can submit as an e-invoice, as an individual e-invoice, okay, instead of a consolidated e-invoice. Make sure you understand what is an individual e-invoice and what is a consolidated e-invoice. Huh? So consolidated e-invoice is for those who don't need a physical e-invoice, okay? So that you submit once in a month, okay, for those customer who are not required for e-invoice. But some industry you need to pay attention now. Some industry they are not required to issue consolidated e-invoice, especially the construction field, like you're selling building or you are selling vehicle. Those industry are not required to issue consolidated e-invoice. Another case is for all industry. Whenever your bill, which is over 10,000, okay, 10,000, 1万块以上, 1万块以上 or 10,000 above, you are not required to issue consolidated invoice as well. Okay, this one you have to pay notice. Sure. Okay, we have our assistant joining in. Maybe you can ask a question while I'm present the how to how to implement the invoice. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so if you have question, you just keep on text the question at the chat box there. Okay, all right then. Transaction for invoice. Okay, so just now I already show how to create how to enter customer information. So now we go for sales transaction. Okay. All right. So for sales transaction, basically we go to sales here. Okay. So whichever related to invoice is sales invoice. You have sales debit note, and sales credit note. Okay. These four things are required to submit invoice, or you can say you only can do submit invoice through these four modules. Okay, you cannot do submission for invoice under the customer in the future. Okay, as you can see, customer here, you also have the invoice, customer debit note, and customer credit note. Okay, this you cannot do submit invoice. Okay, so every document related to invoice, you need to do under sales. Okay, let's go one by one. Let's say sales invoice. Okay, sales invoice, first thing always you need to key is the customer. Okay, for example, I'm keying the one I collect info, which is employee center member app. Okay, so after you select the customer, you have to check the customer tag here. So make sure if the customer requests for invoice, make sure the detail you have fill in accordingly, and make sure the registration number and team number are correct. Okay. So back to here, the detail. You have the document there and document number, the invoice number. Invoice number is always running. Okay, auto running. So this is your document that let's say it's today. Okay. Today I want to issue an invoice. So I will key my item. Let's say the first one is cola. It's like it show the sample for cola. So for cola, you can choose either it's per carton or per thing. Okay, so this one the price you can key manually. Okay, let's say I key 10 cartons. So all product bill is 260 here. This is the total amount. Maybe you can add another item. Let's say I want to do transport. Okay. Maybe I have a delivery. Okay. So our charge for trip is 15 or 30. Let's say 30. Okay, so all together is 290. So make sure your item you have preset the classification code. Okay, if not, you can select here. You can select here, which is your to-do list, others. Okay, or you can preset at your physical item. Okay, okay. So total amount is 290. Okay, shipping info. Okay, because this is a local sales, so we don't need to fill the K1. Okay, but if you're doing export, which is your customer is a foreign company, make sure you fill the K. It's not K1. I think the export from customer is K something. Okay? But for import, it's always K1. Okay. So after this, you can set your invoice. Okay, then you notice that you need to press the submit invoice in order to, I mean, you can, in order to set up your invoice to SDN, okay, and to click the submit invoice. But before that, you can preview your invoice, okay? So before you click on submit invoice, your invoice will look like this. Your invoice will look like this, okay? You notice that this is an invoice format. Uh, invoice format, you have your customer profile, like register number, the team number, and the full address, and the contact number. Okay, and then you have your document number and the document there. Okay, and then this is your billing item. Up to the end is the bottom is your total amount. And you notice that there's a invoice information which is showing the status is pending. Okay, this is your not yet submit the invoice. That's why you can create the submit invoice here. Okay. Then you may also refer the type here invoice. Okay. Make sure your company MSIC are select correctly. So try to check the setting for this. This is under your MSIC table, under your company profile. Okay. Okay, so under this tab, here the status is showing you pending. Okay. So in this case, you will have to do submit invoice. Okay, pay attention for this doing the submitting now. So if you click submit, make sure before that all the details in are correct. Okay, which means that after submitting invoice, you are not able to do any changes to this invoice already. Okay, so if you now we click submit invoice, okay. So before we submit, we just focus on this tab now. Invoice, so the status is pending. So I click submit invoice. Then you can see this is a summary and the confirmation for submission. Okay. So make sure the details are clean, correct. The team number, okay, and then the register number, correct. Okay. Because if you are under the wrong company team number, it will go to the wrong company accounts, you know. So to confirm, you click confirm. That is submitting. Okay. You log in. Okay. So you can see here the message showing you is valid already. Okay. Okay. So you can see that the status is valid, and then it's submitted by which user, and what it means or this user. And then this is my submission there and validation there. Okay. Okay. The unique identifier number is the one returned by LSTM. Okay. Which means LSTM already accept your e-invoice. Okay. Then it will reply you a reference number. Okay. Okay. So here you can click the status. As you can see here, it's showing you valid now. And the validation result. Okay, this validation result will only show when you are failed to submit. Okay, maybe your customer team number are invalid or others like contact numbers, you didn't fill the country code, something like that. It will show you the error here. So if you get the error, then you have to correct. You have to correct first, correct first, then you do the submit again. Okay, but if you are already ready, which means everything's okay. So you won't have a error message here. And then the QR code here is the reference to LSTN. Okay, you can click the link here. You can click the link here. Actually, actually we are back to they get my voice. Well, can we a little bit introduction here. Okay. So okay, this is the my invoice total. Okay, get to our invoice here. Can see my share screen or not? You know. Okay, so back to the invoice, my invoice total here. After this, your credit is considered already credit the invoice. So now we preview the physical sales invoice. So we click OK here. So now you can preview. As you can see here, once the invoice is empty, you are no longer to resubmit again, and you are no longer to make any changes for the detail of the invoice. Okay? Even if you change, you also cannot send. Okay? So now you only can do is to print out the e-invoice. Okay? So okay, this is the preview. As you can see, the things are still remain unless accept the e-invoice information that is showing you that it's valid already. And then you have the unique identifier number and also the validation index. Okay, you have the QR code. Your customer may also scan the QR code in order to get the bill from the My Invoice portal. Okay, so if you click here, also it will jump to the screen just now I show you. Okay. So for this invoice, you may also export to PDF, send to your client, or you may also with WhatsApp, you can create the link. Okay, create the link, you copy and you paste to your WhatsApp, you send out to your customer. Okay. So because this is the second time printing, first time printing, maybe you have before submitting. After you submit, you do a second print. Either you print in hard copy or you can submit, send through the WhatsApp to your customer. Okay. So, any question for the process of submit invoice? Okay. Maybe I'll try to do another one for government. Okay. Or we do for individual. Individual actually is the same like company, just in order it's company, then we build to individual. So individual, make sure it's using individual Malaysia, and you have the IC and the PIN number. The PIN number, if you want to confirm, you can verify here again. Okay, make sure the PIN number is correct, and then the contact number are correct. Okay, then you can view as usual. Okay, then we can start. But if the customer, he or she don't want the invoice, then you don't need to do the submit. But means you can still able to bring a normal invoice or e-invoice. Okay, what invoice is this is the previous previous submission, uh, which is still showing you pending and without the QR. Okay. If one day this customer come and look for you and say, I want this to convert to invoice, then you click on submit. Okay. But this only can do before you do the consolidated invoice. But if after you done the console, if the customer come back and say, I want this invoice to convert to invoice, uh, sorry to say that it's cannot. Okay. So after you have done console, you cannot change it back to a normal invoice already. Okay. Maybe you have to set a timeline to your customer. If you want to, they want to claim invoice, then how long they need to request. Maybe within the month. Okay. Let's say this one I want to submit, I just click submit and make sure everything is correct and click confirm. Okay. This one is submitted. Schedule already. So if you bring the invoice, I can show you. This is a billionaire with the IC, the PIN number, and then this is the status. Okay. All right. This is a sales invoice. Maybe I'll show you how to do sales. So sales is for those who want invoice or don't want. Let's say you have a retail shop, especially you in cash sales. So cash sales is classified as general public. Basically, don't need to key the registration number, and also the address. All are not applicable. It's all are not necessary to key in. Unless the customer requests for invoice, you can amend the detail, okay, to change to their name or company, and then this one will change according upon their request. If they are the request for submit for to as a company, then we select company, and if they are individual, they can go individual. Okay, but in this case, we select general public, which is not request for invoice. Okay, then we key our products. Okay, so this is a okay, so this is a normal sales. I just click set as user. So, Okay, my invoice is showing pending. And also you notice that, let's say we want to submit this invoice. Okay, if you submit this invoice, you are rejected from by the system. Okay, here is showing you that customer feedback is as bad as general public. They do not require invoice. Okay, so this type of cases, you only can submit as consolidated invoice. Okay, understand? So you cannot physically submit individually. Okay, so this one we keep until the end. I'll show you how to submit the consolidated invoice. Okay, back to our invoice here. Today I have issued two invoices. Let's say this one Everwing. I have supplied 10 cartons to this with Everwing this today. Okay. Suddenly, let's say one carton damaged. They want to return. In this case, we need to issue credit note. Okay, but this invoice we already submitted LSDN. Okay, we cannot do physical amendment to this invoice already. We cannot say I change from my carton for return. Okay, in this case, you need to issue credit note. But for sure, within 72 hours, you will still able to do the cancellation. Okay. But even though you do cancellation, you still need to request a new invoice to the customer. Okay, you cannot do the amendment to the for those invoice you already submitted. Okay, so but if you are settled by using credit note, first thing you need to give the customer back. Okay, it's the man, and then this is the day for your CN. This is your CN number. Okay, so you have to key the reason why you want to CN. Maybe it's a damage or item. Okay, yes. This is the place you key for the reason, and then you need to refer to the invoice number. Okay, invoice number should be this one. Okay, either you can key in or you can search through the button here. So it will put you this screen. So you click on inquiry. Okay, it will filter all the labor center invoice. Okay. So make sure the invoice is make sure the invoice already valid. Okay. This is you already have the unique identifier number. So now I want to press the end for this invoice. I just take this and click OK. Okay. So reference number here, you may also refer to the item you want to return. Okay, let's say for this reference, I want to return the column. Okay, click OK. So the to return one carton, I change to one carton. Okay. Then I click save. Okay. So make sure everything's correct. input their information. Then you go to the invoice. From here, you can see you have the original unique identifier number, which the invoice reference, and the invoice unique identifier number. Okay, now you can do the submit. Okay, click the submit and then click confirm. If you already check everything is correct, click on confirm, and then you will submit the credit note. Okay, now it's showing you credit. Okay, so this is another unique identifier number for the CN. Okay, so from here you can preview the credit. So this is the credit with the QR. Okay, and then also the invoice information. Okay, so from here you can check the info. You can see the is stated is from credit mark. Okay, this is your CA number and the reference, the UID, and then this is the supplier and the buyer's name. And then this is the amount of the CN and the name. Okay. Okay. So any question regarding CN? You can show how to create self-view invoice, payable the subsequent company no need to self-view. Company you just key the normal payment voucher. I not yet pay to them. If you don't yet pay to them, you can key as a normal bill entry. Okay, maybe I'll just show you. Okay, so you can key under a supplier under your bill. Okay. Assume that you have the interest account. Let's say you because you charge to the company is considered as your interest income, no? Or okay, or they charge to you. If they charge to you is your expenses, if they charge to you is your expenses. Let's say I create a GL called interest payout. Okay, set it. So which we go to. So this is my expenses. Okay, so I just key as normal. So any company I key in. So this is interest charge. Okay, so this is the company who charged me the interest. So this is the debt. Then this is their invoice reference. So here I will key the interest payout. So let's say my interest is 2,000. Okay, yeah, I click set. This is a charge to us. Okay, then for the payment, you just click pay bill. Okay, so you go to the company. Okay, so just now the bill is for the software company. Okay, and just pay to the company. Okay. So from here you can see the invoice, the outstanding invoice. Okay, so you look for it. So this is the one I'm going to pay. So I'm pay for 2,000. So the reference you can put payment for interest or something. Okay, payment for interest. So you will not off the bill. Okay, so this is your payment method. Okay, so you can choose let's say it's a channel or something. Okay, and then we can set the payment, and then you can preview the payment voucher. So this is a payment voucher paid to the supplier. So this is the interest payment. So this is the bill they charge to you. You see, in this case, I didn't do any Excel bill, okay, because it's company. My supplier is a company. But if my supplier is a individual or agent, then you have to select the supplier. Okay. That one you cannot put the bills here. You have to put the purchase. You have to put the purchase invoice okay, or you can direct through payment voucher also. Okay. They won't be you except you just normal payment voucher. Okay. Then make sure your supplier is under the circuit. You just key a normal payment voucher, then you click on the submit invoice. Okay. So make sure your supplier is fall under circuit category. Okay, for those I'll show you later. Okay, if for our process, we are come to credit already. So any question regarding credit card, I show you the credit card, I'll show you the case sales, okay, and I'll show you the invoice, and then the case sale for those who don't need we don't need invoice, then this one later on come to the end, I will show you how to do the consolidated invoice. Okay. All right, now we try for self-view. Okay, one by one. I'll show you the purchase invoice first, which is the import, okay, import for goods. Okay, let's say I have a supplier. which is overseas. Example is let's say this one. Okay. Now if I send this is the map. Okay. This one I'm using currency is ringgit Malaysia. Okay. But if you are using other currency, you have to create a different supplier code. Okay. Like this one is use Chinese yuan. Okay. So with this one will be another currency. Okay. Let's say the fees are using ringgit. Ringgit with this one. Okay. So let's start to select our to key our item. Okay. So let's say my item is another drinks. Okay, one long tea. Okay, so these are also in. Okay, so my classification is others, but my sort view will be sort view importation of goods because this one is import product in form of Thailand. Okay, okay, I can select and then I can create multiple URL. Maybe I'm using carton. One carton is equals 24 in. Okay. So one carton maybe cost me 15. Then I'm sell for 75. Yeah. Okay. But when I set this item, so there's some error here. And not right. Maybe, this is the confirmation. Okay. So in this case, you just click ignore and continue. So I set the item already. So now we key the purchase invoice. Okay, so now we go to purchase, purchase invoice. Okay, so from here we key the supplier name. Okay, make sure that here they are under foreign seller. Okay, the thing type is company foreign. Okay, then the shipping info. Here you need to put your K1 reference. Okay, and then you key your item. Let's say use company 100 so my total amount is 5,000. Okay. So you notice that there's a sub bill indicated here. Okay. So which means this supplier is under sub bill supplier. Then you set and big submit. Okay. So this is then follow your supplier invoice or the next is the follow your custom declarance. And this is the China invoice reference. Okay. And remember, you need to do the submit invoice. Okay. Then you click confirm. Okay, so this is the one, the invoice. Okay, this is ready. Then you can pick up the test invoice with invoice QR. So for the preview, you can see this is the supplier information. So this is a total view amount, and then this is the SDN invoice information, and also the QR. Okay. So from here, you also can see the QR here. So it is a self-view invoice. Okay. With the self-view invoice, and also you have the reference as well, and then total amount. Okay. Okay, so this is the self-view for purchase invoice. Okay. So another one will be the okay. So, but just back to the question just now, as you say, is asking for the interest payment. Okay, let's say assume that the supplier is for under self bill. You just key in their info. Okay, info is not under the supplier here. It can be under the payment. Okay, so I was like again. Okay, this is the K1 format. That's not I show you. Okay, what if it is expenses? Expenses you can also use for test invoice as well. Okay, let's say I use for test invoice. We go back to our purchase invoice. Okay, this time I'm select to okay, this is a individual. Okay, so this is an individual. It's fall under the survey type. Okay, so the detail, let's say today pay up the interest or the individual charge me the interest as per request. So I will make use for the miscellaneous item. Okay. So the miscellaneous item you can put the interest charge. Okay. So let's say that it charge me 2,000. Okay. Okay, by default you can see the GL account here showing is cost to general expenses. Okay, from here you can change to interest payout. Okay, because they didn't give you the invoice, so you can get used send with your own reference. Okay. And then you click save. So make sure the supplier info you create that under supplier file. Correct. Yeah, I see and the team member. Okay, so this is under subbill. Then you can submit the invoice. Okay, this one I already said. Okay, so you can check the double entry. Is it correct or not? You click on info, GL journal. Uh, GL journal. Yeah, it's the screen. Okay, this is the GL journal. So basically, the posting is to debit the expenses and then credit to the supplier. Okay, so this is the double entry creator for this purchase invoice. Okay, so in this case, I will need to do submit invoice here. So make sure the reference the details are correct. Then it will be confirmed and we submit the survey. Okay, now it's valid already. So you can also fill out the self-bill invoice. Okay, so this is the self-bill invoice which is already valid. Okay, so this is how you keep expenses. Okay, make use of miscellaneous cost, but I can amend the description here. Okay, and then also the GL account. But if your screen, if you didn't have GL account, you may also use the column chooser. Okay, you right click the column here, select column chooser. You look for GL account. Okay, let's say I drag out the column. Let's say your screen didn't have the GL account. You can right click any line here, then you select column chooser. So from here, you look for GL account. Then you click and drag it to the column. Any column you can select. You can choose to slot in. Okay, and then we can change the column as well. Okay, so after this, so this is done. Okay, so we to our slide here. So this is the expenses, and then I'll show you purchase return. Purchase return. Okay, purchase return because e-invoice is from your supplier. So make sure they already submit the e-invoice for their CN, huh? Then you can correct under your purchase return. So purchase return is to refer to supplier's agreement. Okay. So from here you key in the supplier. So any supplier you can key in, right? But you need to see the reason. Okay. You need to key the reason. Let's say it's wrong something like maybe amount wrong. Okay, invalid amount. Okay. So you need to refer the invoice. Yeah. So from here, you need to click inquiry and then select the purchase invoice. Okay. And then for this, you need to fill your own MSIC interest AR. Maybe overpay of 1,000 Okay, so CN of 1,000 or maybe 500 was good. Okay, let's say I put 500, which is you need to reverse from the interest payout. Okay, so here you can knock off the bill or look for the invoice. Okay, so maybe it's this one or any invoice or which one I refer to. Okay, as long as you refer to the correct one, then you send. Okay, so this one you don't need to do submit because the CA is from your client. Okay, but for sure you can update the unique identifier number here, but I'm not recommend to update here because once you keep a unique identifier number, it will become valid. Okay, once it becomes valid, which means we are no longer to do amendment the bill. Because the detail here, any wording, maybe you are keying wrongly or amount you're keying wrongly is also being related. Okay, then you can do amendment already. Okay, all right. So this is a purchase return payment voucher for the invoice. Okay, before we go on for this, let's take to the Q&A again. We will receive a set bill. It's an accrual fee, like audit fee, electricity bill. That one should be key and the audit accrual fee should be key under, let's say your payment to electric audit fee, which is accrual, then you debit to the accrual account first, which means your payment by your bank, and then you pay to your accrual account first. Then when it come to the time, you pass a journal, you credit your accrual, debit to your audit fee or your electricity bill. I have received a sub bill. You receive a sub bill. How come you receive a sub bill? If you receive a sub bill invoice, then you just key a normal invoice, normal sales invoice. But the sales invoice you no need to do submit because sub bill is submitted by the one who issue invoice, not you. So for your case, you no need to submit the invoice. You just key a normal sales invoice, or you can key under customer invoice as well. Let's say a staff want to claim expenses, got average bill, got DIY bill. Okay, those physical receipt, you need to scan the QR. Okay, you scan the QR to fill out your company detail. Okay, and convert the bill to e-invoice. Okay, as for system part, you only key the normal payment voucher. Okay, how to back up the account. Okay, the backup is through here. Okay, your database will be on backup. So you do backup at the server. Okay, so this is your database, and then make sure the connection is no problem. Then you click next, and then you select your backup folder, and then you start backup. Okay, then you will start process until complete. Okay, where I key the closing amount. Okay, closing stock amount is under the GL stock value maintenance. Okay, stock value maintenance. Okay, if you are first time coming in this, you have to pick new. Then you fill in the GL account here, like this one. Okay, after you fill, then you key the year and your crossing month. If your crossing month is December, you key under December. Okay, if you are keying last year opening, then you go on to before and then key the previous year closing. Then it become current year's opening. Okay. So also need to click save. Okay. So we'll go next. So one more question here. Any question? Okay, if not question, we go for payment voucher. Payment voucher for self bill. Okay, basically what we need to do for payment voucher with self bill, like normally it's like rental lah. If your rental, if you rent an office from a personal, then you have to create self bill payment voucher. And what if your the landlord is company, then you ask for them to issue an invoice to your company. That's the way. And also the water bill and electricity bill. Okay. 可以再说一次吗 Okay. Backup. You go to you go to tools. You go to database utility. You click on backup. Okay. So this is the server location. Okay. And then this is your database. Then so this connection, make sure it's connected. Okay. Then you click next. Okay. So second thing is the backup folder. Okay. You can select your folder. Okay. It's either in your cloud or in your external drive. Okay. So this is the file name. Okay. The file name and the back will indicate the version and your backup time. Okay. So this is 2025 December 26, 11:08 minute, which is current time. And then you click on backup. And so we are this is maybe an error. Okay, if you found this error like this is you need to give the access permission to this folder. Okay, to this folder. Okay, which is under the program file, Microsoft SQL Server. Then this is your Microsoft SQL folder. And then go to the Microsoft SQL data to keep access. Okay. Okay. So how to do? Maybe I'll I'll show you. Show you. You need to share the screen. All right, this is my drive. I'll go to the program file, Microsoft SQL Server, then look for the Microsoft SQL folder, and then the data. Okay, double click data. You see this. Itu have to the permission. Then you click continue. Then you have to access this folder. Okay, after this, then you can cross the folder. Then you can start to do the backup. Now you start to cut the. Then you start doing the backup. Then you can until complete. You complete that some kind of you have to wait. If your database is growing up, then you take some time to do the backup. Okay, well, all the backup is processed. Then any some more question. Okay, after complete, you from this backup complete. Okay, you want to open the folder, you click yes, it will open the folder for you. Else, you just click no to end the backup. Okay, right. So next our time we will go for set bill for payment voucher. Okay, so we go to GL here, general ledger. So you look for payment voucher. Normally, if you're doing claim for staff, you just pay to the staff name. Okay, you pay to the staff name, and then you key in the claims up. So whatever claims, make sure physically the receipt you already scan the QR to apply for e-invoice. Okay, the rest you only need to key under the payment voucher. Okay, let's say petrol. Let's say they go to the station. Okay, so here you can key the let's say a station. Okay, or maybe you can key the car, which which car. Okay, and then the amount, let's say 100. Okay, just key in as usual. Okay, let's say the pay by cash, pay out by cash, you select cash. Then this is your payment date and your payment voucher number. Okay, so this case you don't need to do self bill. Start claim you don't need to do self bill. Okay, just need to make sure the receipt you need claim the invoice. Okay, by scan the QR on the receipt. Okay, then you key in the detail through their proper. Okay, then it will convert to invoice. Okay, but you may also key the unique identifier number here, but I think it's not necessary. And then you can key the in order to key. Let's say you have 20 of you, but here only have one unique identifier number. Okay, but if you don't want to separate the payment, you can use the column chooser. You try to search for unique identifier number. You can create out a column here, and then you can fill each of them. Okay, this is for one of the receipt. Okay, let's say this is receipt for the petrol. Let's say one month they go to the station full time. They have two receipts. For station. So from here, this is the another receipt from different days. This one maybe is CS, another receipt. Okay. And then is another invoice you plan. Maybe this one is 35, something like this. Okay. So maybe they have another expenses like parking trend. Then this is the, let's say parking trend, they don't have invoice or then you just click it. You just click it, but it's still able to do the claim. Okay, let's say the parking claim is 16 ringgit. Okay, this is the total of the claim. Then you just set and create the payment voucher. Okay, so this is the normal payment voucher. Okay, this is the normal payment voucher. Okay, this is not a self-bill payment voucher. Now I'll show you the self-bill payment voucher. Okay, so click on new. Okay, this time I want to pay to a landlord. So the landlord has to be self-bill. Okay, so how to do? You have to first time you have to go to still under general ledger. You go to payment receipt info. Okay, payment receipt info. You click on new. Then you fill the detail. Okay, so I'll show you one of the sample here. Okay, so this is, I assume this one is the landlord. Okay, so this is the IC. Okay, this is the contact number. Okay. And then you have the field type, pin type, and the pin number. Okay, and then this is the ICN. Okay, so after you complete, you click on save and close. Okay, so you have the payment info here. So now we can do our payment voucher. So under payment voucher, you can select to the list here. Pay to the landlord. Okay, so you see that the payment voucher is showing you is self-bill. Okay, so description you can keep number or maybe office or January 2026. Okay, then your payment by your bank account, maybe it's my bank. So this one is your, let's say you're paying by check. So this is your payment voucher number and your payment date. Okay, so that will be your rental account. Maybe you pay for the water and electricity. all this unit was bill to the landlord because the Sesco bill or electricity bill are due to the landlord. So you have to serve bill to the landlord. Okay. Electricity or office. Let's say it's the okay. And then maybe you have the payment for portable uh, which is could be. So you want to keep invoice number. Let's say this one don't have invoice, but electricity bill you have an invoice, and then the control bill you also have the invoice. Okay, and you keep the amount. Okay, so this is a total bill to total payment lah for some bill. Okay, then you click that, and then remember to do submit invoice. Okay, so this is the landlord's detail and the payment amount. Okay, to confirm, click confirm. Okay, as you can see, there's an error here. Classification of item error. This GL is required. Okay, so here you can see that the classification code you have to fill in. Okay, make sure it's you need to fill in the classification code for the sub bill. Okay, so here you click save again, and then you submit, click confirm. Okay, now it's very early, and click OK. Then you click the invoice tab here and see the status is ready. Then now you can preview the payment voucher invoice. So the payment voucher invoice will be look like this. Then you have the QR. Okay. So if you click this, or you can scan the QR, then you will see this. It's your invoice, is your payment. Okay. This is the supplier, is the landlord. Supply to your company, and then this is the total amount for the schedule. Okay. Okay, so this is the schedule for the payment voucher. So any question? Staff claim for for on vehicle also same. Yes, it's also the same. On vehicle is the staff vehicle. Company vehicle also the same. As long as if it is a petrol, then you need to get the receipt, convert to e-invoice. Okay. So every expenses, if you can, you convert it to e-invoice. If cannot, then you just key in as normal. Currently still acceptable lah. Okay. So I think okay, and there's a last part. uh, And about okay, this one already. Okay, come to the last topic, which is a consolidated invoice. Okay. So this one I trust. Uh, okay, now we back to our system. Okay, before you do consolidated invoice, you can go to e-invoice power search. Okay, we have a power search tool with us. Okay, your submission for is always the next month, first 7 days. Okay, In, including including uh, those who are not yet submit the invoice. Okay, example, no, not I say no. Okay, let's say you start on January, right? So your first consolidated invoice would be on February, the first 7 day of February. Okay, so before you do the console, you need to check the January transaction. Every single sales invoice which fall under company name, you need to make sure you already do the submit for e-invoice. Okay, if not, then you have to. If not, let's say they either they don't want e-invoice or they yet to give you the complete detail. If they don't not yet give you the complete detail, you have to ask from them first lah, to confirm that they want e-invoice or not. If want, then you give them the timeline to settle this, okay, before you do the console. Okay, once if they didn't give you the full detail, which means their invoice are not an e-invoice. Okay, in this case, their invoice will be draw into the consolidated invoice. Okay, so let's say now is December. So I will focus December's deck, and then the document to submit. Let's say I check for the invoice first, the sales part, which is this form. Okay, and then I want to check which is still pending or embedded. Okay, then I click inquiry. So it found that the listing here now only appear two local sales. Okay, so these local sales don't have customer involved. Okay, all are under general public. Okay, it's all under general public. Which means those with detail I have already submitted as the invoice. Only these two Excel, like so these two Excel will be converted to consolidated invoice. Okay. So now I want to start to do consolidated invoice. So how to do? You go to still under the invoice, huh? Then you go to consolidated invoice. And you select consolidated sales. Okay. So, so from here you can see this scale on R. Okay. So your first estimation, let's say this one, because this one is December transaction. So the transaction rate is under December. Okay. And then you go to that, which is your falls under first 7 day of January. It's either it's 01, 01 is holiday, maybe it's 02, or the last day is 07. Okay. And then you click generate. So you go for the 7 day of 2026. Okay. So this is the Excel. So if you double click, you can see the Excels. Okay. This one is under the console. Okay. It's not like the invoice. Why this one is not in? You can check the invoice tab. This one is pending because the classification part you didn't put, or maybe okay, let's check our problems with this deal. Actually, still there's an issue for the because this is for the post system. Then actually there's a issue there this machine. Okay, I guess I say call has to be built up, but in this case for this transaction we don't have the MSIC code. That's why while during the generate for the console, it won't include in the list because of the MSIC code. But this for this one SL, this one we just created today. This one which is already have the MSIC code here. So this one it will be appear in the consolidated sales. Actually, it should be two, okay? But that's not the one we don't have the MSIC code. That's why it will not appear in the list. Okay. So for your case, maybe in 1 month you have a lot of cash sales here, which is under cash sales. Okay. Don't have customer detail. Okay. So in this case, you do the submit for invoice. As you can see here, all the receipt, all the cash sales number generated under one consolidated number. Okay. So make sure in this list you don't have other company name inside. Even have you have to make sure that if they really don't want invoice, then it's okay. If they want invoice, you have to draw out from this consolidated invoice and submit individual. Okay. Then you regional again the consolidated. Then the one with the company name will not appear here. Okay. Let me show you one example. Let's say I create one invoice. I bill to, let's say I bill with 100% discount. So okay, I set another invoice as today. So once I get to my consolidated sale invoice, I regenerate again. Okay, like I have to delete this. Let's say I delete this. Okay. So I'm back to my power source. Click inquiry again. As you can see, 100% discount. Store is appear in the list. Okay. I try to generate console. For my consolidated will be 7 of 2026. So this is the day of my transaction that I did generate. So look for the day I generate console. You have invoice here. And so you want this one. Save. So this one is okay. Show the status here is sending. Press start the Excel for this. Sales. Okay, this is to make sales and make sure the okay. As you can see here already computed by the number. Okay, so if you read it again, it won't collect you another consolidated. Okay, so for this you have to refer to this CS CSL 2601002. Okay, so you go to consolidated sales CS0 is like 2601002. Yeah, 2601002. Special. Okay, it's here. Okay. Okay, so this is the consolidator for December. Okay, your document there is first uh in January of the first 7 days, the 7th of January, and then this is your consolidated reference. Okay, as you can see, there's a 100 discount store here, which is you didn't submit for e-invoice. I just assume that this customer don't want e-invoice, and then this is a normal cash sales. Okay, in this case, I just do the submit e-invoice. Okay, then you click on submit, continue, confirm, then you confirm. So this consolidated invoice is debit already. Okay, so that will consolidated sales invoice, the status is ready. Okay, so how does the printout look like? The printout is about like this. Okay. So you have the CS KSL number and then the invoice number without the itemized detail. Okay, so you only submit as a group submission, those invoice which are not require invoice. Okay, after this, you notice that let's say for this group view, we go to 100% discount for invoice. So this is the invoice. As you refer to the invoice tab, you click on refresh. you can see that the consolidated invoice status is debit. Okay, you have the reference number and UUID. Okay, but this side is still pending, okay, because of this invoice you are not submit individual, you are submit as console. That's why the consolidated status is showing debit. Okay, but the individual status is pending. In this case, you want to submit, sorry, you cannot. Okay, because it's already valid as console. Okay, which means this customer wants the invoice, you cannot convert for them already. And if they want their physical invoice, also normal invoice only, not a not a daily invoice. Uh, it's normal invoice. Okay. So this is what we want to do for invoice. So I think already discover or already. So let's refer the Q&A. If we make donation to Chinese high school, no need, no need to do invoice for donation. That one is normal payment voucher only. Mm, so any more question? Because my sharing is finished. Later on, we will share out the video to you. You may request from our colleagues. Okay. So before we end the meetings today, let's, any more question you want to ask? Report, Optimum and Delphi. Okay, for report, what's the difference? I think more or less are the same. Just the layout or the place to click report different. Okay. Let me close this first. Okay, this is your main screen. So basically, your report will under view here. Okay, in view here, you go to report. So all the report is depends on your modules. If you have project module, then you refer to project. If you have GST, then you refer to text report. Okay, and then other than that, you have customer report, your GL report. Okay, let's say GL report, you have the journal. This part I understand with Delphi already. Okay, even of your P&L, your bank account, your account balance, okay, your profit and loss account, even though profit and loss account detail or all are listed here, okay, and your balance sheet also. Okay, the layout more or less the same comparing to Delphi. Okay, and then the customer report, you have aging, Okay, you have the AG, you have the customer layer, and then you have the agent commission report, something like that. Then for supplier, also understand you have the supplier ledger, and also your supplier aging. Okay. As for sales report, basically we refer to the report here. You have the sales register. Okay. We have all the sales register here, and then we have your outstanding report, and then you have your analysis report. Okay. This one you can refer by your own. Okay. So as the things is still there, it will it's still you always can come and have a look. Okay. So for purchase, you also say we have to register, we have analysis, and also the outstanding stock report, we have monthly stock level, even though by location also have, and then we have the stock ledger in quantity. Okay. If you are dealing with the stock value maintenance, basically you refer to the line stock balance. Okay. So here you key in your financial debt, and then you can click on preview. Okay, so this one will maybe I just use inquiry. Maybe this one will fall under this is your total stock value, closing stock value. So this one we need to update with the account side, your stock value maintenance. So which is under December. Okay, so you have to press this figure. If this figure, assume that this is the final figure, then you have to fill in here. Okay, and then set it. Okay, what is the next? If the rental paid already issues self-bill invoice, we still need to consult. Make sure your payment voucher you have submit the invoice. Okay, you are not really recommend to do the consolidated for self-bill. Maybe first 6 months you have the grace period you can do, but as a practice, we recommend you to submit individually. We will not double taken up, okay, but for advice, we advise you to submit individually. Okay. You may also filter under the e-invoice. Sorry, not the console. You can filter under the hours. Okay. So you can filter the purchase invoice. Okay. If you use purchase invoice for self-bill, but the payment voucher is not included. Okay. So in this case, payment voucher, you have to go to GL, your payment voucher. You click on search. Okay. So this is your payment voucher listing. Okay. You can use column chooser. You right click a column here, select column chooser. So you look for I think you have the status. Okay. You have the console status and you have the individual status. and you can get the self view self type. Okay, so if you have self type, you can filter individual text layer or other stuff if you can. Okay. So if you filter the related camera motor and then you can filter the depth. Okay, let's say it's this month, you just put this month. Okay, this month, let's say I have two view the which is already valid, then it's okay. If not, then you go inside, then you submit individual. Okay, then you go one by one, go inside and submit individual. Okay, consolidated 可以分开提交吗？可以，可以的。Any more question? If not, then we end today's briefing. Later on, we will share the video to you all. Maybe we give you 5 minutes for Q&A. If no question, if not, maybe you can leave the meeting already. Okay, everyone, please reply to the chat box. Okay, if you don't have question, maybe you have question later, you can always place at the WhatsApp groups there. Okay? Or you can WhatsApp to our office your question. Okay. Okay, so we stop today's presentation. Thank you for joining. Okay, thank you. Bye.